Black CEO revealed incredible strength after being mocked, then she took back the $8.3 billion tower. Maya Johnson stood at the podium, her heart racing as laughter echoed through the lavish banquet hall. The crystal chandeliers glimmered above, but the light felt cold as she stared into the crowd of tailored suits. The investors, experts with polished resumes, were rolling their eyes at her ideas. She had dared to dream big for her community, to honor the rich traditions of her Chicago neighborhood with a vision they dismissed outright. Their mockery pierced through her like an icy wind, and she was reminded of the sacrifices her mother made, working 3 jobs just so Maya could chase her education. It was supposed to be a night of hope, but it felt more like a stage for their contempt. After a few moments, Maya clenched her fists beneath the table. She had always believed in the American dream, yet here she was, feeling stripped of her worth. The taunts and whispers combined with the smell of expensive perfume wrapped around her like a suffocating blanket. And then, just like that, she caught a glimpse of her past: children playing outside, neighbors sharing meals, families gathering for barbecues. Laughter that was genuine, not belittling. As she recalled the aroma of her grandmother's soul food mingling with the sidewalks echoing with music, tears filled her eyes. But it wasn't just her story, it was the story of the neighborhood that she sought to uplift. She could hear her mother's voice, reminding her to be proud of where she came from, and suddenly the laughter faded just enough to rekindle the fire within her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The tension in the room rose as she prepared to speak again. More than just a project, this was a chance to restore dignity, a fight against gentrification, a call for justice in a city that had forgotten its roots. She recalled glimmers of support, the faces of her childhood friends, the people who believed in her. They were all counting on her to move mountains. Shaking off the laughter of the elite, Maya felt a spark. The tower wasn't just a building, it was a beacon of hope for generations. She held the plan close to her chest, her mind racing with ideas that could turn the tide. Those investors didn't hold the key to her success. They were the same posh suits who wanted to erase her backyard, but she was determined to reclaim not just the tower but the narrative of her community. As the night wore on, Maya stood at a crossroads. With every moment, the stakes grew higher. Would she shrink back or rise up? An idea surged within her. This wasn't just her fight, it was hers and her community intertwined. And like a wave, the whispers of support grew louder, echoing through her thoughts. Maya knew her story was far from over. The confrontation awaited, and the world was watching. Could she craft a new reality and take back what was hers? The tension in her chest solidified into determination as she stood ready to face whatever came next. Would they see her not just as a CEO, but as someone fighting for her people? The moment felt electric, and she was ready to ignite it. The moment hung in the air, electric and raw. The laughter that once felt like daggers was now distant, overshadowed by the surge of resolute confidence that coursed through Maya. She leaned forward slightly, her eyes scanning the sea of faces grimacing behind their polished facade. Then she spoke, her voice steady, cutting through the silence like a warm knife through butter. "You may see a tower of glass and steel, but I see more," she declared, and the words reverberated off the grand walls. "I see the lives of those still fighting for a place in their own neighborhood, of families who have endured, thrived, and deserve better than cynicism." The murmurs began, hesitant but gradually rising as heads turned. Eyes widened. For the first time that evening, she felt the grip of attention tighten around her, absorbing her energy like electricity. Maya continued. "This project isn't just about bricks and mortar. It represents opportunity, the chance for our children and grandchildren to see their dreams reflected in their own community. You may dismiss me today because I'm not wearing your suit and tie. But I am wearing my ancestors' sweat, their hopes, and their struggles. A small group in the back nodded, eyebrows raised in surprise. They were the ones from the neighborhood, those who had supported her dream. Maya could sense them, and that connection fueled her. As she delved deeper into her vision, she laid out plans for affordable housing units interspersed with cultural centers that celebrated the roots of the community. The investors' expressions morphed from smug disbelief to curiosity and skepticism, but she noticed some whispers of approval. The air felt thick with challenge, but also with possibility. Maya, we don't invest in dreams, one of the elder investors, a man with steel-gray hair and a thick accent, finally interrupted. His voice held power, but she wasn't intimidated. Then maybe it's time to start, she shot back, a defiant spark igniting in her chest. Dreams are what built this country. Without them, we have lost our very foundation. The crowd stirred, a ripple of tension vibrating through the room. For every eye that narrowed in judgment, another widened in intrigue. She didn't intend to please everyone, she simply wanted them to see what they couldn't deny: the strength of community, the weight of history, and the fire of ambition. With every sentence, Maya felt herself unearthing the depth of her resolve. It was more than just her fight now, it was about everyone who believed in her vision. Now she wasn't just a black CEO facing a room full of disbelief, she was a leader standing for her past and barreling toward a brighter future. And if you truly want to invest, she concluded, her voice rising with fervor, you'll need to believe in something greater than grid lines on a plan. You'll need to believe that change is possible, right here, and it begins with us. A pause settled in the room. Maya felt the weight of her words land, trembling through the air like an unspoken question. Would they listen? An anxious energy swirled, drowning out the earlier mocking laughter. It was as if they were tuning into a frequency they hadn't expected to receive. Let us discuss the proposal, a woman's voice ventured from the shadows, a voice of influence and authority. She had been more subdued and reserved but now seemed alight with the prospect of a challenge. Maya's heart raced. This was the moment. Could she harness this spark into something that would truly change lives? As the conversations began to flow, Maya glanced at the faces in the crowd. There were glimmers of hope, uncertainty, and possibility. But amid it all, a quiet doubt still lingered in her own heart. Was she ready for the battle ahead? Could she battle the odds and win the war for her community? The question, heavy and pressing, floated through her mind like a cloud threatening rain. But Maya steeled herself. She was ready. In that moment, the next phase began, a journey that would take her deeper into a world she both feared and yearned for. What lay ahead would define not just her but the very soul of her community. As she turned back to her notes, the fight was just beginning. Would she transform this idea into a rallying cry, or would the weight of corporate power snuff out her spark? The discussion sprawled out like a fresh canvas, and Maya leaned in, sharpening her focus. She could feel the breeze of opportunity whispering around her. Questions bounced back and forth, investors probing, assessing, weighing the worth of her proposal. Each pointed comment felt like a blade, but instead of flinching, she absorbed it, framing them as critical stepping stones toward her goal. Affordable housing? In this area? Came a snarky reply from a younger investor, the words dripping with skepticism. Maya met his gaze straight on, refusing to be shaken. Why not? She shifted her stance, arms crossing with conviction. What's wrong with giving people a chance to thrive amidst our urban landscape? It starts with us believing that we deserve better. Some in the crowd murmured again, a low hum of approval. But she could feel the challenge simmering beneath their polished surface. They were circling, testing her resolve, yet she remained grounded, tapping into the history that fueled her passion. Across the table, the elder investor with the steel-gray hair sat still, watching closely. There was respect mingled with disbelief in his gaze, as if he'd never encountered someone quite like her before. Igniting a flicker of hope within, she pushed forward. This community is rich in culture, history, and potential, she pressed on, voice steady. Why should we strip that away for a shiny tower without roots? If we build a bridge between tradition and aspiration, we're not just constructing buildings, we're knitting this community whole again. The tension began to shift. An image of children laughing in safe streets, families gathering in communal spaces, and artists reclaiming historical expressions painted themselves against the stark walls around them. She could see it, she could feel it. A soft voice interrupted her thoughts. I used to live near here. Another investor, a middle-aged woman who had been silent until now, chimed in. There was longing in her tone. My family lived in a small apartment not far from where you want to build. We didn't have much, but we had our roots. I think this is important work, Maya. A wave of energy erupted. Faces turned, nodding. As she exchanged glances with her supporters in the back, Maya felt the momentum surge. A connection sparked amongst them, and she realized it wasn't just her vision. They shared the dream of resurrecting their community. Then it hit her, this wasn't just a pitch. It was a movement. People didn't just want to invest in properties, they wanted to invest in lives, in futures. With renewed vigor, she rallied. This is about rebuilding trust and creating a sense of belonging. A tower isn't just an investment, it becomes a symbol of what we can achieve together. Invest in this, and you're investing in more than a project, you're investing in a legacy. The steel gray-haired man finally spoke. And how, exactly, do you plan to make this viable? Maya took a deep breath, knowing this was the pivotal question. With careful planning and community involvement. We'll build together, ensuring these spaces reflect the needs and dreams of the people they serve. Silence returned. The air thickened with expectation. She had challenged them, opened a door, not just a proposal, but an invitation to become part of something transformative. As the conversation started swirling again, Maya's mind raced. An unsettling feeling crept back in. What if the risks weren't just financial? Did she really have what it takes to shift centuries-old attitudes and beliefs surrounding her community? She glanced at the positive energy gathering among the investors and followers alike. Hope flickered, yet beneath the surface lay the heavy truth. The fight was far from over. The question now loomed larger than before: would she manage to forge a partnership with a vision that could transcend the confines of corporate greed, or would she stumble, letting skepticism crush her spark? Determined, she felt the intensity rise within. As the discussions deepened, Maya clutched her notes tightly, ready for what was next. She had stepped into this world, a world that could ignite change, but the path forward remained a wild unknown. The clarity came at a cost, and she gripped her resolve tightly. Could she, with all her ambition, respond to the whispers of doubt and emerge victorious in a system designed to push her back? Would her voice rise above the noise, or would it vanish in the whirlwind of profit-driven pursuits? And as these thoughts raced through her mind, she found herself at a crossroad, where the real battle awaited. Maya wiped her palms against her jeans, the fabric rough against her skin. The room buzzed with a mix of skepticism and intrigue, like a tightly coiled spring ready to launch. She felt the stakes rising as each investor leaned in, drawn by the urgency in her voice. Affordable housing isn't a charity, it's an investment in the core of our society, she pressed, her heart racing with every deliberate word. People are the most valuable asset in any community. When they thrive, so does the economy, so do we. The steel gray-haired man, still watching, seemed to reconsider his earlier doubt. His brow furrowed slightly, a hint of a smile emerging, but it was hard to tell whether it signified agreement or curiosity. The younger investor challenged her again, and what stops you from overextending? The last thing this area needs is another failed project. This is a risky endeavor. Maya's breath hitched briefly as she soaked in that criticism. Risk was her companion now, and she wouldn't back down. You're right. It is risky, but if we don't take those risks, we'll never see progress. Every monumental change requires someone willing to step into the unknown. She sensed the room shift, more faces were nodding in understanding. Maybe it was her tenacity that struck a chord, or perhaps it was the underlying truth that resonated deeper than financial projections. I am that someone, she continued, rising with determination. I will ensure that every brick is laid with purpose, every door opened because we constantly have each other's backs. In this journey, we're laying down roots for generations. The imagery opened minds. Then, as if summoned by her words, the room swelled with voices all at once, a chorus of hopes, fears, and dreams intertwined. It was like magic, a flicker of unshakable resolve binding them, and for a moment, she could see the dream take flight. A hand shot up, an older gentleman, slightly balding but with eyes sharp like a hawk's. What about the local businesses? How will you ensure they thrive along with your project? Fantastic question, Maya replied, already brainstorming solutions. By encouraging local participation. We'll integrate them into the framework of our community, creating opportunities that empower them rather than displacing them. We'll host regular forums for input and support. The murmurs fermented into a steady rhythm of excitement. She felt the energy shift even further. Something was finally happening. This was not just a presentation, it was a rally. But doubts loomed like dark clouds threatening to overshadow her light. What if they didn't believe she could deliver? What if the very investors she sought to connect with ultimately turned their backs? She took a steadying breath. Listen, I've stood where many of you are standing, Maya continued, a tight smile on her face. Fighting against a system that often dismisses people like me, people who work tirelessly for something better. But I learned that together, we can challenge that. Finally, the conversation simmered down, but the intensity hung in the air, thick with possibility. And as Maya looked around, she thought of the faces of those who had lived through the hard times in this community, the kids who played in streets barely holding together, the grandparents who recounted stories of a time when this area thrived, the artists who turned their pain into something beautiful. For them, she had to fight. Just at that moment, the elder investor spoke again. Very well. You've got our attention, Maya. Now, show us that you can deliver results. She swallowed hard, knowing the real pressure was just beginning. I won't let you down, she promised, her voice steady. But remember, it's not just about construction, it's about creating a future where every voice matters. As the meeting wrapped up and they began to exit, a question lingered in her mind, heavier than before: would they truly believe enough to take the leap with her? The real battle was just starting, and she could feel that crossroad deepening beneath her feet. Would she rise to the challenge, or would her vision slip through her fingers like sand? Maya stepped out of the conference room, her chest tight with anticipation. As the door clicked shut behind her, the buzz of excitement morphed into a dense silence. She felt exposed, like she had just jumped into a pool of ice-cold water. The adrenaline from her pitch still coursed through her veins, but now doubt clawed at her heart. She took a deep breath and glanced around the bustling lobby of the skyscraper. People hustled past, absorbed in their own worlds. She was just another face in the crowd. But she wouldn't stay that way, not now. Determined, she headed toward her office, her mind racing with the promise she made. Show them you can deliver results. How? The weight of the expectations loomed large. Financial projections crammed into her head, as if they were written in indelible ink on the walls. She needed a plan, a tangible strategy that would make dreams transform into reality. As she stepped into her office, she turned on her computer and stared at the blank screen. The cursor blinked, daring her to start. Just then, her assistant, Aisha, poked her head in. Maya, you did great in there. People were really engaged. I think you won them over. Aisha's enthusiasm was infectious, yet Maya couldn't match it. Thanks, Aisha. But it's just the beginning, Maya replied, shaking her head to dismiss the praise. Sure, but we need to celebrate the wins, even the small ones. How about a lunch outing to celebrate the pitch? Aisha suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Maya considered the proposition, feeling the heaviness on her shoulders lift just a bit. "Let us do it," she smiled, her heart softening. "But I need to work out some details first." After Aisha left, she opened her calendar, blocking out time for the next days, priorities and goals colliding in her mind. She started calling local businesses, wanting to include them in her plan. Each conversation brought her closer to vivid possibilities. Some ended in excitement, while others in flurries of skepticism. But every call solidified her intent. She could turn this vision into a reality. Hours later, an unexpected knock interrupted her focus. The steel-gray-haired investor, Mr. Keller, stood at the door, his presence commanding yet calm. "May I come in?" "Of course," she said, trying to mask her surprise. "What brings you by?" "I wanted to discuss your proposal more in depth," he said, stepping inside and closing the door. There was an intensity in his eyes that made her heartbeat quicken. "What are your next steps?" Feeling a rush of warmth from his interest, Maya spoke from the heart. "We need to prioritize making connections with local businesses, ensuring they're proactive participants in this project. It will be a challenge, but we can make it work." Mr. Keller nodded, leaning forward. "Good approach. But we also need the financials to back it up. I can help connect you with some analysts who can give you a clearer view of what is feasible." "Help? You do that?" Maya felt a flicker of hope. This could really change the trajectory of everything. "Of course," he replied, a subtle smile cracking through. "I like what I'm hearing. That passion of yours? It's contagious." Maya's thoughts raced. This was the support she needed. "Thank you, Mr. Keller. I won't let you down." As they discussed potential strategies, a spark ignited within her. Their future seemed bright, filled with possibility. Yet in the back of her mind, the flicker of anxiety still loomed. Would everything they planned lead to success, or was she building a house of cards? When they wrapped up their meeting, Maya realized how much she had to prove, not just to the investors, but to herself and the community that had placed their faith in her. As she watched Mr. Keller exit, an unsettling thought popped into her mind, just as vibrant and piercing as before. What if her ambition didn't align with reality? Would she falter under the pressure? Deep inside, she knew the only way to find out was to keep pushing forward, despite the risks. The battle ahead was daunting. She stood at the edge of a cliff, staring into the unknown. Would she take the plunge? Would she fight for the dream that had become so vivid in her mind? Maya clenched her fists, feeling the resolve settle in. She had to step up, to rise to the occasion. The future of so many hung in the balance. And just like that, the realization hit her: if she faltered now, it wouldn't just be her dream that fell apart. It would be the dreams of countless others. The next morning, Maya woke up to the sound of her alarm ringing in her ears. The sun streamed through her window, illuminating the room with a soft glow. It felt like a fresh start, a blank slate waiting to be filled. But as she stretched, the weight of yesterday's conversations clung to her, a tangible reminder of the challenge ahead. After a quick breakfast, she flipped open her laptop and began reviewing her notes from the meeting with Mr. Keller. Everything felt more real now. She made a list of local businesses that could bring value to her project: coffee shops, boutiques, tech firms, all of them potential allies in her mission. Maya reached out to each one, her voice steady as she pitched her vision. Some seemed intrigued, while others hesitated, caught up in their own skepticism. But she pushed through, flooding them with enthusiasm, crafting every conversation as if it were a performance. This was her moment, her opportunity to light a fire in those around her. As the hours ticked by, Maya felt urgency creeping in. She scheduled a meeting with a few of the business owners, people who hadn't been swayed yet but were willing to listen. "What do I have to lose?" she murmured to herself, heart racing. The thought both terrified and thrilled her. That afternoon, she walked to the small cafe at the corner of her street, a spot she'd frequented for years, now marked by her determination. As she entered, the familiar scent of roasted coffee wrapped around her like a warm embrace. She spotted a table in the back where two of the business owners waited, looking curious yet cautious. "Thank you for coming," Maya greeted them as she slid into her seat. "I know this is a big step for everyone, but I truly believe we can create something impactful together." The men exchanged glances, their skepticism palpable. One of them, a middle-aged man with piercing blue eyes, leaned forward. "You really think this idea of yours can work? It sounds ambitious, maybe too ambitious." Maya's heartbeat quickened. "I see the potential. And I understand the risks. But the community wants this. They need us to come together and create something that feels like home." Her voice held a spark she didn't want to extinguish. The men listened, and for a moment Maya felt as if she could see the gears turning in their minds. She pressed on, detailing her vision and outlining how their involvement would not only impact the project but their businesses too. After what felt like an eternity, the blue-eyed man spoke again, this time softer. "It's a compelling argument. But what's in it for us if it fails?" Maya took a deep breath. "What if it doesn't fail? What if we're part of the start of something amazing? Together, we become the heartbeat of this project. Imagine everyone coming together, working collectively toward a shared goal. The return isn't merely financial, it's about building something greater. Something we can leave as a legacy." A silence settled over the table. Then the second business owner, a woman with fiery red hair, leaned in. "All right, you've got my attention. Let's say we move forward. What's the first step?" Maya felt a flood of relief wash over her. "Let's set up a community meeting. We'll invite others, generate buzz, and showcase our vision. Together." As they dived deeper into the details and agreements, Maya's heart soared. She had ignited a spark. Perhaps she was building a bridge to success after all. But that familiar voice of doubt lingered, reminding her of everything at stake. Later that night, returning home, she reflected on the day's accomplishments. Everything felt exhilarating, but underneath was the nagging uncertainty. What if the support didn't hold? What if her ambitions drowned in the swell of reality? As she tucked away her notebook, the phone rang, startling her. It was Aisha. "Hey, Maya. You'll never believe who wants to meet with you. It could change everything." A thrill of excitement shot through Maya, followed by a wave of dread. Who could it be? And what was she getting herself into now? "Who?" she asked, her voice steady, though. Inside her mind was racing. "You'll find out soon enough. Just promise me you're ready for anything," Aisha replied, a hint of mischief in her tone. Maya gulped. Ready for anything? Did she even know what that truly meant? As the phone call ended, anxiety twisted in her stomach. The stakes were higher than ever. With every step she took, the fall felt closer, and the weight of expectation pressed heavier. What would the next meeting bring? Would it be the break she needed or another reason to doubt herself further? Maya could only hope that her determination would guide her through the chaos waiting on the other side. Maya barely slept that night. Thoughts swirled in her head like autumn leaves caught in a gust of wind. The meeting with Aisha weighed heavy on her mind. Who was it that wanted to meet her? And why did she feel both excited and terrified? As the morning light crept through her window, she pushed herself out of bed, determined to face whatever lay ahead. She glanced at her phone. No messages. The anticipation made her heart race. What was she waiting for? An invitation to the unknown? She couldn't let uncertainty rule her day. Breakfast would do her good, she thought, so she made herself a simple omelette, hoping the routine might calm her nerves. But even as she savored each bite, her mind was elsewhere. After breakfast, she opened her laptop, ready to dive back into her project. New contacts were coming into play, and she needed to finalize her community meeting agenda. Her fingers danced across the keyboard, thoughts flying into words about partnerships, goals, and excitement. She outlined her vision meticulously, the colors and vibrancy of her dream spilling onto the screen. Then the text came. It was Aisha. Are you free to meet with them today? The message felt electrifying. Yes. What time? Maya responded, heart racing as she waited for the reply. 1 p.m. at the downtown office. Bring your best self. The reminder made Maya pause. Best self? She wasn't sure what that even meant. Was it the polished entrepreneur ready to take charge? Or the vulnerable dreamer that still feared falling short? She clenched her fists, pulling in strength from somewhere deep inside. Pieces of her dream were finally aligning, but one meeting could take it all down or shoot it into the stratosphere. Time crawled until 1 p.m. arrived. Maya stood before her mirror, trying to calm the storm inside. She slipped into her favorite blazer and took a deep breath. You got this, she whispered, straightening her shoulders. The day outside was brimming with life, a reminder that the world buzzed on despite her inner dilemmas. As she approached the office building, the sleek glass facade towered above her, a testament to ambition and success. Stepping inside, the air was crackling with an electric energy, propelling her forward. She was greeted by Aisha, who wore a brilliant smile that lit up the room. There you are. You're going to do great. Just be yourself, Aisha encouraged. Thanks. But who am I actually meeting? Maya asked, curiosity bubbling over. You'll see soon enough, Aisha replied, a hint of mischief dancing in her eyes. Moments later, she found herself seated across from a group of 3 individuals. One of them was a striking woman with an air of authority. She wore her hair cropped short and radiated confidence. Maya, so glad to meet you. I'm Vanessa, and I've heard so much about you, she said, her voice warm yet powerful. Maya managed a smile. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to share my vision. The conversation flowed, and Maya explained her ideas passionately, feeling the warmth of encouragement from the group. But as questions emerged, doubts flickered in their eyes. Maya pressed on, weaving her dream of community togetherness with every word, her heartbeat thudding in the silence between sentences. Then Vanessa leaned forward. Maya, we love your vision, but let us be real for a moment. The competition is fierce, and our resources are limited. Why should we invest in your idea? Maya's mind raced. The stakes were high, and vulnerability spilled into the air like a thick fog. I understand that risk, she said, voice steadier than she felt. But this isn't just going to benefit me. We're building a legacy, and the community needs to feel connected. Imagine how powerful that connection could be. We could set a new standard. Silence blanketed the room. Just as Maya began to doubt herself again, Vanessa nodded slowly, her gaze sharpening. You're right. But what do you need from us to make that connection happen? Maya felt a mix of relief and excitement surge through her. She had their attention. Let us create a partnership that engages our community. We can organize events, workshops, activities that bring everyone together. It's not about just one business, it's about a thriving community. As they discussed details, Maya's confidence blossomed. She could hear the spark of interest grow among them. But then a thought struck: what if this was just a shiny facade, hiding deeper issues and potential failures? Hours passed quickly, and as their meeting ended with handshakes and shared smiles, the weight of her ambition hit her. Walking down the streets, she felt lighter yet burdened. Was this the breakthrough she'd been waiting for, or just a stepping stone to more struggles? When Maya stepped outside, her phone buzzed with an incoming message. It was from Aisha again. You did an amazing job. I think they're ready to move forward. But you know what? There's something you need to be aware of. Maya stopped in her tracks, heart pounding. What now? What was hiding just beneath the surface? Would it alter everything she'd built? Her breath caught in her throat as she read the rest of the message. The strength she had found now felt precarious. She had jumped forward, but was she ready for the truths that lay ahead? Maya stood still, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. A flood of emotions swirled within her: excitement, apprehension, and an undercurrent of dread. She read the message again, hoping it would clarify things, but the words blurred together. "What do you need to be aware of?" she whispered under her breath. Feeling the ground shift beneath her feet, she decided to find a cafe nearby and wrestle with her thoughts over a cup of coffee. As the aroma of brewing coffee wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, she sank into a worn leather chair. Her reflection stared back at her from the cafe's polished window. Freckles of worry splattered across her brow, a frown barely masked by the warrior's makeup she had applied. Her fingers scrolled through the thread with Aisha, searching for context, something hidden in their conversation that would make sense of it all. Then, there it was, a brief mention of budget cuts, strategic shifts, and a mysterious opposition brewing within the group she had just met. What did that mean? She thought. Did it reflect on her proposal? With her heart thudding in her chest, she took a deep breath and let the warm cup of coffee ground her. Maybe Aisha could help clarify. Sending a quick message, she typed, "What else should I know? Is Aisha okay?" Minutes felt like hours until Aisha's reply popped up. "Not sure if it's south my place to say, but trust your gut. Sometimes people might not believe in your vision, and it can feel isolating." Maya's stomach nodded. "Is that what you mean by something I should be aware of? Disbelief? Or is there more to this?" Aisha's next response came through with a slight pause, as if she were choosing her words carefully. "Just remember, sometimes those who doubt are the ones who hold fear in their hearts, and sometimes, they can become your greatest allies. Don't let them dim your flame. You're stronger than you think." A rush of warmth spread through Maya, igniting a flicker of hope amidst her worries. "Strength," she echoed, grasping the word like a lifeline. It resonated within her, reminding her of the passion that fueled her ambitions. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting warm oranges and pinks through the cafe window, a thought struck her: what if she turned their doubts into motivation? What if she reached out, built coalitions, and shared her vision far beyond this one meeting? Feeling a surge of energy, Maya began drafting a new message to Aisha. "I want to arrange a community event, a launch to visualize my ideas and bring people together. I believe it could quell fears and stir excitement. What do you think? Can I count on your support?" As she hit send, she envisioned collaborating with Aisha's network. Old fears slipped away as if melting in the warm glow of determination. This felt right. Reinforcements were essential. Suddenly, a flicker caught her eye. Turning toward the cafe door, she spotted Vanessa striding in, her demeanor alert but thoughtful. The two locked eyes for a split second before Vanessa's focus shifted to the busy barista. Maya's heartbeat quickened. Should she engage, or was it too soon? Acting on instinct, she rose, smoothed her blazer, and approached. "Vanessa, hi. I didn't expect to see you here," she started, confidence bubbling up. Vanessa turned, surprise flickering in her eyes before morphing into that warm smile again. "Maya. I was just grabbing a quick coffee. How did you feel about our meeting?" 1,000 thoughts danced through Maya's mind. She took a breath, ready to be authentic, ready to confront the dynamism of their earlier discussion. "I've been thinking a lot about the vision I shared, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can navigate doubt together." Something shifted in Vanessa's expression. Maybe it was curiosity sparking in those sharp eyes. "I think that's a conversation worth having," she replied, her tone holding a promise. As their eyes met once more, Maya realized she was on the verge of something transformative. But the road ahead was still shrouded in mystery. She needed to dig deeper into the underlying challenges. What awaited on this journey? Would she embrace the challenges ahead, or could they be her undoing? And just then, as they exchanged numbers to set up another meeting, Maya got a notification. The screen lit up with another message from Aisha. "By the way, I've heard some unsettling things. There's someone plotting against you, a rival from within. Be vigilant. Her stomach dropped. The game was only beginning, and the stakes were higher than she'd ever imagined. What would she uncover next? Maya felt her breath hitch in her throat as she read Aisha's message again. A rival? The words clawed at her resolve. Could they really be lying in wait, poised to strike at her aspirations? Suddenly, the cafe felt like a spotlight, illuminating her uncertainties. Her heart raced as she looked at Vanessa, who appeared to be bubbling with potential yet somehow unaware of the storm looming overhead. I just got a message from Aisha, Maya stammered, unsure of how much to divulge. The urge to be open warred with the instinct to guard her vulnerabilities. She mentioned something about a rival. Vanessa's brow furrowed momentarily. Rivals can be tough, but they can also fuel your fire, she said thoughtfully. Do you know who it might be? Maya shook her head. Not yet. But if there's something brewing, I have to find out. Well, if there's anything I can do, Vanessa said, her voice a mix of sincerity and determination, I'd like to help. I believe in what you're trying to accomplish. Maya's pulse steadied just a fraction. It was nice to know that someone saw her vision, even when the shadows of doubt crept in. Mutual trust could be a lifeline. In that moment, she resolved to take control, not only of her vision but also of the brewing conflict. They exchanged ideas, sparking discussions about how best to frame her community event. Inspired, Maya began to sketch out an outline, her pen gliding over paper, hats off to the plan that would dissolve any doubts lurking in the corners. Let's take it to the next level, Maya suggested, her confidence surging. We'll invite local leaders, influential voices to stand for what we believe in. Vanessa nodded, her enthusiasm shining through. Together, we can create a movement. It's about building strength and unity. A showcase of your vision is exactly what we need. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt the burden of fear lighten. With each passing moment, the dreadful message from Aisha felt more like a spark than a foe. She didn't just want to counter this unseen rival, she wanted to galvanize everyone around her. As they brainstormed ideas about themes and potential speakers, Maya's mind raced with the possibilities. She could envision the atmosphere buzzing with excitement. The room would pulse with energy, faces illuminated with passion. But there was another thought lurking, an unease that wouldn't settle. Who was this rival? If they were truly plotting against her, their motives weren't just about doubt, they were personal. Her fingers tingled as though electricity sparked beneath her skin. She needed more clarity, more insight. I'll reach out to some contacts from Aisha's network, she said, a determined tone streaking through her words. Let's dig deeper and unearth any intel that can help us. With a plan forming, Maya and Vanessa wrapped up their coffee meeting, ready to embark on a path toward transformation. But as Maya stepped out onto the street, ready to take on the world, her phone buzzed again. It was Aisha. Wait, it read, you need to know, the rival is closer than you think. The threat isn't just an abstract idea. It's personal. Don't let your guard down. Maya's heart dropped again. This journey was quickly evolving from a simple endeavor into a complex web of intrigue. As she faced the looming city skyline, her resolve intensified. She'd confront this obstacle head-on, but she needed to be smart about it. She had a vision to protect, and no one was going to derail her, but how far would her rival go to shield their interests? And what kind of strength would it take for Maya to push through this shadowy challenge? Maya inhaled deeply. This was her moment, and it was just the beginning. Maya stood on the rooftop of the tower that symbolized both her dreams and her struggles, staring out across the city she loved. The world below hummed with life, streets busy with people, shops bustling with energy. She could feel the heartbeat of her community echoing in her chest. It had been a long road filled with doubt, rivalries, and late nights of strategizing, but here she was, on the brink of something monumental. The community event she had envisioned was finally happening, and the anticipation crackled in the air. The day was a vibrant canvas painted with hopes and unity. Her phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. Aisha's excited voice filled the receiver. "Maya. People are starting to gather. This is it. You're going to knock this out of the park." With a smile spreading across her face, Maya made her way down to the gathering. She passed friends from her childhood, former teachers, and neighbors who were all there to support her cause. Their presence fortified her spirit, reminding Maya of what she was fighting for. When she stepped onto the makeshift stage, the crowd erupted in applause, voices merging into a beautiful chorus of solidarity. She took a deep breath, channeling the energy flowing around her. Each clap, each cheer, was like fuel for her determination. This wasn't just about a building, it was about her community's resilience and the future they all hoped to create together. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her voice steady yet passionate. "Today is not just about laying the first stone, it's about laying the foundation for our shared dreams." The crowd buzzed, nodding in agreement. Maya's confidence soared as she spoke. "Together, we have the power to rewrite our narrative." As she laid out her vision, detailing plans for affordable housing, family centers, and cultural spaces, she could see the excitement reflected in their eyes. The dream she held so dearly, once met with skepticism, now blossomed before her, and she felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Then, as if summoned by her words, the familiar figure of Vanessa stepped forward, her expression one of unwavering support. "Maya, what you're creating here is incredible. I can feel the energy shift. There's something about our connection, it's electric." The crowd responded with a cheer as Vanessa continued, "This moment breaks open a new door for us. And I'm honored to stand by you in this." But amidst the joy, Maya's mind flickered back to Aisha's warning about the rival. She took a moment, scanning the crowd. In the back, a shadowy figure watched, a reminder that not everyone shared in her dreams. Maya bit her lip but refused to let fear creep in. This day wasn't about them. "I'm asking for your help," she said, eyes shining. "We can unite our voices and make this more than just a proposal. Let us be a movement." The crowd erupted again, a chorus of voices roaring their agreement. After the speeches, people grouped together, ideas flowing like the cool breeze. Local vendors set up tables, sharing food, stories, and laughter. What began as a battle against doubt transformed into a celebration of hope and possibility. Maya wandered, engaging in conversations, her heart swelling with pride. Women shared their dreams of businesses that could thrive, children imagined colorful art spaces, and couples discussed the future they envisioned for their families. She felt their hope and belief ignite her soul. Hours later, as twilight descended, Maya stood back on the roof. She felt the pulse of the city, the burning energy of her community flowing through her. "Today, we claimed our stake, and tomorrow, we build," she declared to the evening sky, an electrifying smile lighting her face. The hustle and bustle below faded, leaving her reflective in this moment of triumph, but life often held more twists, and she knew the shadows still lurked. Yet as Maya took out her phone, she didn't just see the threat, she saw the support around her. Aisha had texted again. "You did amazing, Maya. I'm so proud of you. Just remember to stay vigilant." She closed her eyes, breathing in the wind that whipped around her, invigorating and alive. The lingering unease reminded her of the challenges ahead, but now she felt ready. No matter what came, this was her truth, her fight. Nobody could dim the fire of a community united in determination and dreams. "Bring it on," she whispered, her heart full. The future awaited, bright and promising. This wasn't just the end of a chapter, it was the dawn of a revolution. Maya was ready to step into the light, and she wouldn't back down. And you, as the reader? You must be part of this movement. Subscribe now to the channel, so you never miss these inspiring stories. Don't wait not even one more second to join the discussion in the comments below. Share your feelings about Maya's stunning transformation, and share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who need that spark of hope today. This is the moment to show your support.